Hi, I'm Milo, and this is my co-pilot Teller. And this is our van, Brunswick. Brunswick is a 2018 Ram Promaster 1500. This conversion was 100% DIY and took about 10 months to complete. It features a fixed bed, a bathroom, a 4-foot convertible desk, an AI electric oven, a dog bedroom, and a lot more. Starting up in the cab, I didn't make too many changes because I did want to keep it pretty stealth. Here I do store my shoes in this little basket, as well as Teller's dog food. I have my little Tillamook cheddar squeezy that everyone gets very concerned and they think it's a real block of cheese, especially in the summertime, but it is just to keep my hands from cramping on long drives. Up here by the driver's side, I have this relay switch that controls which battery is being charged by the alternator when I'm driving. I have a 2-battery setup, so I can change when I'm driving which battery is being charged. This is my pocket door. It just slides here to the side, and then I have a full pass-through to the back. When you first come in my van, the first thing you see is my coat hooks right here, and then it's also where I store my keys, which is really nice to always have a place to put them. Teller's leash also lives here, and then I have a few other safety items. Up here is kind of a catch-all, so I have my knife, a flashlight, some hand warmers, Teller's dog treats, and poop bags, and then I also have a small shelf here for a Bluetooth speaker. Also on this wall is my diesel heater controller, and then this is the remote control for my AC unit for Teller's bedroom. And then I have my lights on a dimmer right here. This is the other side of my pocket door. I added a full-length mirror. I have some more of this leaf trim that I had in my last van that I really like. A little cutout here as a handle to move the door back and forth. And it's covered in the same cedar trim as the rest of the van. The next thing you see when you come in my van is this sink unit. So it contains my kitchen sink, my faucet, which has the sprayer, so of course you can spray on the outside and do an outdoor shower. And then I went with copper for the sink, because again, I love copper. Over to the right of my sink, I have my food compost bin. So I like to keep food scraps separate from the rest of the garbage, just to keep bugs and Teller out of it. And then I also have dish soap and then a couple plants here. I have some cutting board storage and then some spooky decorations for Halloween. A couple pictures and some more plants. This wall is also the first place you'll see the faux stone that I put in. I really wanted it, again, to be a rustic mountain lodge type feel in here, so I put some faux stone on this wall and then the walls back there. The faux stone is actually PVC. It's really thin, so it's basically weightless. I did a whole video on the install, so feel free to check that out if you're interested on how it's installed. Below my sink is actually my bathroom, so I have a composting toilet stored underneath here. So the door just kind of swings open, and then the toilet slides out. Normally I take the jackets and stuff away, and then yeah, there's a little toilet right here to use. It's an Ogo composting toilet, and one of the nice things about this one is you can see it's actually full, funny enough. When the urine jug is full, this button will light up red, so it lets you know that you probably shouldn't use it anymore and you need to empty it. This button is also an electric agitator, so when you press it, the compost bin is being stirred, and I think it stirs for about a minute. The electric agitator is really nice because you can just press a button and put the toilet away and it'll do its thing instead of having to sit there and hand cranking it after you're done using it. I'm a big fan of the Ogo toilet. I've been using it for a few months now and it's been really awesome. If you're interested in getting one for yourself, I do have a discount code, so check the description for that. Also down here I have a little toilet paper roll holder. On the other side here I have a little holder for the cap for the urine jug, and then a little spray bottle full of cleaner. So after you're done using it, you kind of spray around to keep it clean. Down in the back of this cabinet is also where I have all my plumbing set up. So I have my water pump back there, as well as all of the tubings and fittings and everything is all contained in this cabinet. So if anything breaks, I have direct access to everything to fix it. Moving this direction in my van, this is my fridge and freezer cabinet. Up top, I have my pantry, 2 of these baskets that can just be pulled out and easily accessed. Then I have a big one. In the middle here, I have my fridge. So this is a Bodega 45-liter fridge. It can open from this side to be accessed from here. It can also be opened from bed if I ever want a snack in bed. It can be open like that. Down below, I have my freezer. I did want to have a dedicated freezer in the van just in case I did have a lot of items that I wanted to freeze, and I can have all of this be fridge space. Or if I don't have anything I need to freeze, I can use this as extra fridge space. So this whole thing can become a refrigerator. So this just comes out on sliders, and it does come all the way out if I'm not standing here. And then I have very easy access to all of my items. Below the freezer, I have my gray water storage. I have 2.5 gallons of gray water. It's stored just beside the sink, so that way all underneath the sink can be dedicated to the composting toilet. So there is space for the gray water storage right here. In front of the gray water storage is Teller's dog water bowl. That's really nice because it's an anti-spill bowl, so I can have it full of water even when I'm driving. Right beside that, I have my step stool that gets me up into the bed, but it's also where I store my trash and recycling. So I have a green bin for trash and a blue bin for recycling, and then a lid on top so that way Teller can't get inside of it. On this side of my van is my desk. This was the main purpose for this build. It's what I designed the whole van around, was having a huge workspace in here. The desk is 4 feet of butcher block, and it's on a sit-stand desk from IKEA, so it can crank up to be the same height as the countertops. So in kitchen mode, this whole desk becomes my prep area, so I have plenty of space to pull out my stoves, do whatever I need to do. But when it's in desk mode, it's this height, and so I have this beautiful view out with this window. I absolutely love sitting here and working. I wanted it to be basically a mobile studio, so I have my monitor here that I can pull down, and this is where I do all of my photo editing. I'm a photographer. I do weddings and elopements and stuff, so I love to have my van out in the field with me, and then immediately be able to jump in here and start editing photos from the session. I have my hot water kettle. This is the only source of hot water in my van. I decided to only do cold water on the tap just for ease of plumbing. So anytime I want hot water for dishes or for indoor showering or whatever, I just take out the kettle, heat up some water, and it doesn't take very long. Moving over on my bookshelf, I have my books and some of my journals. I also keep disinfecting wipes right there, so that way when I convert my desk into kitchen mode, I can quickly wipe everything down and make sure it's all sanitized before I start cooking. Up here is my photography cabinet. This is where I keep all of my photography and videography gear. I have my drone and then my camera bag, which is just really easy to grab and take out of here for shoots and everything. I have some cable storage, my keyboard and my mouse, a couple mics, and then back there I also have storage that extends into the cab shelf. So this is where I store tripods, so they can kind of go all the way back there. Last thing up here on my desk is this little board that has all these clothespins. This is for hanging prints or paintings or anything that needs to dry and can dry vertically. I can just pin them up here. Like I said before, my desk is a sit-stand desk, so the crank is right over here. So when I'm ready to put it into kitchen mode, or if I just wanted a standing desk, it just cranks up like this. And now it's in kitchen mode. moving under my desk on this side, this is usually where I store my backpack, just so it's easy to access. But this box is actually my battery box. So on the front, I decided to make it look like a faux wood pile, just to add to the cabin mountain lodge vibe. But inside, it just has this lid that you can take right off. And inside is my battery setup. When designing the electrical for this fan, I decided to do a 2-battery system because I knew I wanted an induction stove and this really fancy oven that I'll talk about in a minute. So in order to run those things and have enough power to run everything else in the van, I decided to do 2 batteries. The van is designed to run off 2 Goal Zero Yeti 3000s. Right now I only have one, and that's why my battery box looks a little too big, because there's room for another. So, room to grow. Here I have these 2 switches that go with the 2-battery system. So this first one, as designated by this silly drawing of a plug, is for shore power. So when I have shore power connected, this first position is charging the batteries. So I can plug shore power into the batteries, and it can be charging if it's in that position. If it's in the second position, the shore power goes to powering the special outlet on my other cabinet, and the special outlet is what the oven and the induction stove get plugged into. So that means if I want, just by flipping a switch, I can run those appliances off of shore power and completely bypass my batteries. This is important because those appliances draw a lot of power, so even if the shore power was charging my battery and then I used the induction stove off of the battery, it's going to deplete faster than it charges. So it makes more sense to switch entirely to being powered by shore power, so that way it's not drawing power from my battery. And then when I'm done cooking, I can switch it back, so that way it's back to charging the batteries and no power has been lost by my cooking. The second switch over here, as designated by my silly sun drawing, is for solar power. So this designates which battery is being charged by solar, battery 1 or battery 2, and the center position cuts off power from the solar panels entirely, so if I ever needed to do maintenance on the electrical system, I could just cut power entirely. Over here I have this little cable pass-through to the front side, so that way I can run cables from my monitor on the other side of the wall and then back through just to keep it a little tidy. And then here is where I have 4 outlets, so no matter what I'm doing at my desk, I always have enough power, and then most of the time I have my little fairy lights plugged in because I really like the ambiance. In the back of the battery box is where I have all of the electro components, like my fuse block, my relay switches, my breakers for my wall outlets, and all the wiring that goes to all of my switches, lights, and anything that is electrical in this van is all routed through this battery box. Because of how intricate my electrical system is, I wanted to have it very easily accessible, which is why I put it up here in the front of my van with this huge opening so I can just get in there and work on it if I ever needed to. Below my desk on the other side is where I have my diesel heater stored. So I put my diesel heater right here and then built a box around it so it kind of acts as a footrest because I'm really short, so it's awesome. Right beside it on this side of my battery box I have my CO2 detector, which is very important in here, especially because I have Teller. And then tucked back in the corner there is my fire extinguisher, also a very important piece of safety equipment to have easily accessible at all times. Up above my fire extinguisher is that special outlet I was talking about that my oven and induction stove plug into. This is the outlet that can be switched to run straight off of shore power. This is my little desk chair that I got. It's a vintage ladder chair, so it actually can flip up to be a ladder. Just like that. I use this to access my over-the-cab storage because I have stuff stored really deep, so I can kind of hop up here and reach back in there, and it's really nice. Up above my cab over here, this is where I keep all of my crafting supplies. Basically, this entire shelf is dedicated towards creative stuff. In all of these baskets, I have like painting supplies, my lino cut stuff, I have watercolors up here, and then I also have my wood burning kit. Pretty much any random craft you can think of, I probably have supplies to do it up here. here in the middle is where I have all of my binders and journals and stuff like that. Throughout the build process, I did keep a binder full of all of the manuals for everything in the van. My fridge, my freezer, my AC unit, my camp stove, like everything, every manual that came with things that were put into this van is in this binder. So that way if anything breaks, especially when I'm out in a no service range area, I have something to make me a little less helpless. I also kept all this stuff to pass on to the next owner, should that day ever come. The other binder that I keep up here is Teller's binder. This has all of his vet records in it, has his like microchip code, his vaccination schedule and all of that. So if I ever needed this information when I'm out on the road away from his normal vet, I have it all very accessible. The last few things I keep up here are some journals and some watercolor paper and stuff like that. This is where I keep my journal for Brunswick to document kind of all of the journeys that we've been on together. These are all the drawings that I did when I was designing Brunswick. This is what I wanted him to look like. There's a few things that have changed since these drawings, but for the most part, it is exactly the way I designed it. The last thing up on this shelf is this vintage bottle crate that I, again, have more crafting supplies inside. I got this at a thrift store and I really liked it. I wanted to have a place to store little crafting items that I came across or cool rocks that I found or really anything, but make sure they have a place so they don't just end up somewhere. Back in this corner of my van is probably my favorite thing in the entire van, which is my June oven. This is an AI oven, so it has a little camera inside that when you put in food, it sees the food, and then it has pre-programmed cook times for certain things, so it can basically cook things for you, which is very, very nice. Part of the electrical system was designed around being able to have this oven, so that's why it is a little more complicated, just because I really wanted this. When I'm not using the June, I do store some of my pans inside just to save on my cabinet space. I do secure it with the same kind of leather strap that I have the monitor secured with, but I have this secured so that way the door doesn't come flying open when I'm driving. But yeah, this is my oven and I really love it. Up here above my oven is kind of my baking center, so I have my sugar, salt, and flour, and then my measuring cups and measuring spoons. I have them hung up with these cable management clips, so the lip of the cup slides right into that and they don't move around, so they just kind of pop in there and they stay put. That was an experiment that ended up working, so really happy with that. Here I have my spice rack, so these are really easy to access and they're all labeled on the top. Up above here is my hot cocoa shelf. I can't really say anything other than I just really wanted a hot cocoa shelf in here. So I have my mug, my hot cocoa mix, and then I have these little containers, mini marshmallows, cinnamon sticks, and then cinnamon powder. So anything you need to make a good cup of cocoa is right at your fingertips. On these two walls back here, I also did the faux stone just because I wanted to extend the rustic look to back here, but also because the faux stone is heat-resistant PVC, so putting it behind the oven is better than just having bare wood back there, so that way if the oven does get really hot, it's not going to hurt anything. In this cabinet, I have everything that I use to cook with, so I have my dishes, cups, bowls, plates. I also have my pots and pans here. And then I have my induction stove, as well as a traditional camp stove if I ever don't have enough power to run my induction stove. I have some bakeware in there. I have a small thing of propane. I also have an entire crock pot stored there, because I really like soup, so...
I'm sorry! I'm sorry!
Why are you laughing?
I'm... okay.
So yeah, I have a crock pot. Come at me. The other main focal point in my design for this van was a big bedroom for Teller, especially because our last van was so tiny. I really wanted him to feel like he had an upgrade too. So his room is enormous. It's almost the same size as my twin bed up here. We measured it a lot of times just to make sure he could stand up, spin around, lay down, and be totally comfortable and have enough room. And he is a pretty big dog, so that's why his room is so big. Some things I put in there to make it feel a little homey for him. Obviously he has his big comfy bed. He also has some family photos hung up there, as well as his Gotcha Day photo from when we adopted him. He has some toys, and then he has this little shelf with a box that has some of his bandanas and jackets, brushes, some of his things. So it really is like a complete bedroom for him. He also has a light for the room. That light is controlled up here, so I can turn it on and off from bed. Other things I added for Teller is an entire AC unit just for his bedroom. The whole van doesn't have an AC unit, but his bedroom does. To give his room AC, I have a Zero Breeze Mark II with a tube that just shoots right into his room. In conjunction with that, I have a Waggle pet monitor up on the wall. This measures the temperature and humidity of his bedroom, so that way I always know if it's too hot or too cold. It has built-in cell service, so it can actually text me updates if it goes outside of my set threshold. It's nice to have that dedicated space for him also when I'm cooking or at my desk or cleaning or something where I need him out of my way in the living area. He can go to his room and have his own space, and I can have my own space, and he's not constantly tripping over me, or vice versa. More often vice versa. Some really cozy knit bedding back here and some matching pillows, matching kind of the green theme throughout the entire van. I kept this wall pretty blank so that way I could sit up in bed and not be hitting my head on a bunch of stuff. Also because I just really like the look of the cedar. On this side I have my closet. This is where I store all of my clothes and my towels. I store everything in these little bins that are super easy to take in and out. I do that so that way when I open up the doors, all my clothes just don't come falling out at me. So I really like the bins. Up above my clothes cabinet, I have storage space for winter hats, some gloves. I have a duffel bag there, pretty much anything that I just need to shove up there. Up here I also have my smoke detector. I have my toiletries bag here, my glasses case, some cables and stuff. I also have outlets back here in my bedroom, so I have AC outlets as well as USB and USB-C. And then this is the switch for my tree branch lights back here. And then there's plenty of space under here for my feet to go when I'm laying down. I'm really short, so obviously this is plenty of space for me. Pretty lucky that I'm only 5'3", so yeah. In my van, I put in 2 max air fans, so there's one above the bedroom and then one in the living space, and that was the best decision ever because you can get such great air circulation between the two, or I can also cool down the bedroom but not the front, and it's just really great to have both. On this back wall, I have my remote for my diesel heater, which is amazing to be able to control that from bed. I can heat up the van before even getting out of my cozy bed, and it's such a luxury. On this side, I also have another dimmer switch that controls all the lights, and that's very nice to be able to turn off all the lights from bed, or turn them on from bed. This is my garage. This backboard is the back of Teller's bedroom, so you can kind of get an idea how deep it goes. It's enormous. So I had limited space for the garage, but I did still want to carry along some tools to do minor repairs or small woodworking projects or anything. I didn't want to be limited, so I wanted to have everything with me. I have this small battery-powered vacuum, which is amazing for cleaning up all of Teller's dog hair. It has attachments for getting into nooks and crannies, and I have 2 batteries for it, and then I can charge them off of my power setup too, so that's amazing to have. On this side I have my backpacking backpack, Teller's life vest for when we go play in lakes and rivers. He also loves to kayak, so we use that for kayaking. This is my freshwater hose for filling up my freshwater tank, which is this entire thing back here. It's a wheel well tank, so it goes over the wheel well and it holds about 28 gallons of fresh water. This is the Zero Breeze Mark II AC unit for Teller's bedroom. It's vented directly out the side of the van, and I can even take it out of this space and use it out at a campsite or wherever else if I really wanted to. Any condensation generated from use of the AC gets drained directly through this hose straight out the bottom of the van. Here next to the AC I have my fuel tank for the diesel heater, as well as my jerry can for filling up the fuel tank. And then strapped in there I also have a little foldable shovel. I have a couple clamps stored here, as well as a screw tray and extension cord. Pretty much anything you would find in a garage I can have in here, and it's been amazing so far. Moving around the outside of the van, these are the two venting holes for my Zero Breeze AC unit. One is an intake and one is an exhaust, that's why they're spaced a little bit far apart. This is the big beautiful window that I put in the van. It was one of the very first things that I did after buying it. It had no windows originally, but I knew I wanted at least one, and probably only one, because I really like to have privacy and better insulation inside. And right below the window is the shore power plug-in. This is the vent for my composting toilet, so all of the bad smells get vented right out here. Up on the roof I have two 200-watt solar panels, so 400 watts total, and that has been plenty for me so far. I haven't really felt the need to add another. I do still have a little bit of space up there though if I did want to add a Wii boost or a cell booster or something like that in the future. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching my van tour. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and Tilly and I will be happy to answer them.